Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Gibson. I hope you're well today. Today is Thursday, June 13th, 2024. Good Lord, half the year is gone already. Some of you that were experiencing shut-ins during COVID can remember when you heard about so many deaths and so many injuries and so many illnesses and so many people hurt. But there's an underlying theme that went along with COVID that we'll be discussing tonight as well. But there's something that we did during COVID. We did our best to educate the public on abuse. Being shut in for so long with your abuser, for those of you out there who are listening, had to be something to deal with. I mean, really something that you had to take seriously because you had to try to understand what it was about you that was so bad that your abuser had to hurt you so much. Some of you didn't make it, and you know family members and others who didn't make it because of COVID. But then some of you didn't make it because you were beat to death. You were abandoned without food. You were a lot of different kinds of crimes against humanity occurred during COVID, and we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Uh, norm therapy isn't about my normal. Matter of fact, when I think of my normal, it's something to the kin of extraordinary. I do some extraordinary things in life, and they've been my normal. I mean, since I was a kid, I mean, from a teenager to special forces, ranger, scuba, all that life, to flying helicopters, to finishing up my degrees online mostly, and correspondent courses and night courses with the military. Owning businesses around the world, traveling all over. I've lived in 22 countries and I've been to over 80. I have a wealth of experience around the world and I've seen just about everything on this planet. It's really interesting the perspective you have once you travel. Norm therapy was something I created from my travels, from my experiential knowledge, from my education, and more importantly, from my life lived. I have lived a very full life and done things that most 90-year-old men dying on their deathbeds today couldn't even imagine. I wanted to put it to some use. So I started talking to people for the past 3 decades, and we've rendered and yielded some extremely productive results. But in the past 6 years, we actually put norm therapy into action, where we went online and we started our own norm therapy school and internship program, where people go for 5 months of training and another 6 months of probationary period. And it's intense. It's not an easy course. We have doctors, attorneys, lawyers, graphic artists, managers. We have all kinds of people who walk every walk of life who are norm therapists right now because of the training. And they often say we're the missing link. We are that thing that they wish everyone could have had growing up or throughout their trials and tribulations, because we take a realistic approach to clarity, assessing, and truth. And we'll talk more about that hopefully during this interview. If not, look at my other podcasts or look at our future podcasts and you'll learn more. Or you can go to normtherapy.com or to our nonprofit, goarrow.org. That's GOARO.org. Now, Arrow stands for Abuse Refuge Org. It's a refuge for abused people, Abuse Refuge Org. You can go to that as well. Or you can go to GoArrow, GOARO.org, and find out all the work we're doing around the world and listen to literally thousands of testimonials of people who've been helped, who've worked with us, who've shared their experiences and found something great about what we're doing. So, without any further ado, I want to invite our guest, Christine Sabinorio. Christine has been with Abuse Refuge Org. Hi, Christine. How are you?
Hi, Michael. I'm good. I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm glad. I'm better now because no
Wow.
one's gonna believe me when I start talking to you. Because when I first started talking to you today, before the show started, you said you had 4 kids.
Yes, I
Impossible.
am.
Looking at you. You don't even look like you have one kid. You look so young. How do you stay young? Tell us that. We want to know your secret.
I'm a spiritual person.
Okay.
My, you know, my kids also, even though they give me chaos, they also give me peace. And
Yes.
I think overall, the peace inside me, it
That
came from my
equilibrium,
heart.
that balance that
Yes.
children bring to you. Well, I
Yes.
understand that you've been with our organization 3 years and 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
What
So
do
happy.
you like about Arrow and Norm Therapy? Tell the world, what do you like about us?
The first time that I've been to Arrow, it was, I think, during it's 2021, after, actually the Philippines is still in COVID that time.
Okay.
I don't wanna. I work from McDonald's, and the trauma that the COVID gave me. I lost both of my parents during the time.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
That gave me make me a decision to leave the fast food and to shift into virtual assistance profession.
okay.
And I don't think it's really a coincidence, because what I'm thinking right now is the universe really led me here in Arrow. This is my very first step of my virtual assistance profession.
Wow.
Um, yes, I don't know why, I when I look at in the LinkedIn, I found the job that Arrow's looking for a volunteer. I didn't have a second choice. Right there and then, when I saw the job post, I apply. Actually, I'm not really expecting that you're going to call me, because I'm really very new in this field.
Right.
I have no confidence communicating in English. English is my second language. I really don't know. I know a little about social media, but
Hmm.
overall, really new in this field. Then I'm
So
really
you're a social media
really
coordinator.
happy. Yes, I'm
Okay.
really, really happy that Kelly gave me this opportunity to work with Arrow and to be a volunteer.
And learn.
Then,
A lot to learn. What?
yes,
Yes.
sorry, learn, and at the same time, this is the first thing that I think about it. I want to help people. At the same time, helping people will help me.
Yes. That is very true. You know,
Yes.
being a social media coordinator, and you thought you'd never be able to do that outside of any other organization,
Yes.
you come to Arrow Abuse Refuge Org,
Mm-hmm.
and we give you the
Mm-hmm.
one of the things we do is we give everybody at the organization and outside of the organization, well, one, a voice. We give
Yes.
everybody a voice, and we give people the responsibility, the autonomy,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
authority to do their jobs. Whatever it
Mhm.
is that they can do, you got the responsibility, you have the autonomy, and you have the authority to get it done. We believe in that heavily and wholeheartedly. But
Mhm.
in addition to that, I should say, you touched on something I'm going to go back to because I don't want to gloss over it. So
Okay.
during COVID, when everybody was locked down, your parents fell ill to COVID.
Yes, they
They
are.
both.
They've been hospitalized for a month.
Wow.
Then after a month, my father died first. Then after 6 days, my mother died.
Wow.
And I'm the eldest.
Okay.
I'm the eldest daughter. I need to be strong, but deep inside, I'm really crumbling.
Of course
But
you are.
I need to be strong for my other siblings.
How many
Because
siblings?
I have three other siblings. We are
Okay. Four.
all girls in the family.
Oh my God, bless your heart. And then you
Yeah.
got four girls and your parents.
Yes.
It has to have been such a devastating event.
Yes. And during the time that my parents been hospitalized, the whole month, we never seen them. Although it's not allowed for me to go to the hospital. Every day, I always go there at the hospital, but they never allowed you. You're only allowed in a certain area at the lobby, hospital
Hmm.
lobby only. But you never, I ever since that my parents was admitted, we never seen them. We never my mom, yes, we she had a phone. She can talk. But my dad, because she was they put tube on on his mouth when he can
Tubes,
able to, yes, can
the
able
rest,
to text
intubate,
or
intubate.
not allowed to have a phone.
Mhm.
Only the doctors that only doctors are the only one who will update us about the situation of our parents. But what is really, when I'm looking back during that time, what is really making me sad is the doctors didn't give us the correct information. If for me, even though it will hurt us, they should, for example, if they feel that our parents could not make it, they should at least a week to inform
Prepared you.
us that you don't I'm sorry, we were trying to do our best, but I think your parents could not make it. They will only have this kind of only a week
Or a few
or
days left
or
to live.
few days to live, so that
Hmm.
we when we can actually have some closing or something that I can ask the nurse if we can do a video call so we can see them, even though
Hmm.
they can we don't know if they can hear us. At least we can say what we want to say to them before they died.
Say
But
your
no,
goodbyes. You want to say your
there
goodbye.
is nothing. Yes,
You want to share, tell
the
them how much you
doctor
love them.
didn't do that to us, and
Well, I'm
we're
so sorry.
it's really so sad.
Of
I
course,
re
but go
Yeah.
ahead. Please. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Actually, during the time that they said that my dad was already they're already
Dying.
resuscitating him.
Mhm.
Yes.
Okay.
I really don't want to believe, I don't want to believe that he's already in that situation. He's already in that place because I don't know. It's
But
like, why?
you do know
Yeah.
there's a hole in your heart, and and you
Yes.
have to fill that void. Have you
Yes.
dealt with your mother and father's death through some type of counseling or some type of
I I
uh,
I really I actually had an online psychiatric consultation that was 2 years ago. It
okay,
was the it was only that time that I realized that I have this kind of, depression,
trauma?
anxiety
Trauma.
problem within, because there is what do you call it? I don't believe it that I have.
Disbelief.
There's
Dis
a denial.
Yeah,
I'm in a stage of denial that time
of course.
that I'm suffering from depression, anxiety because of what a trauma, because of what
Mhm.
happened to my parents.
Absolutely.
But I was hospitalized then, and the doctor cannot find the reason why I was having this gastritis attack.
Okay.
And he just asked me that, why don't you check on a psychiatrist, because um I undergo endoscopy, and they said that
Mhm.
it is normal.
Mhm.
Then after talking to after a few session, and yes, the
Psychiatrist?
psychiatrist told me that, yes, you have to, the I don't know, maybe because it's part of the Filipino culture that we need to be strong,
Yes.
and we, it's not normal to us to say that we're suffering from this kind of mental illness.
It's out of the cultural balance of life.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
most cultures are that way. So you have to stand
Yes.
strong and be the now because you're the oldest, the matriarch of the family.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so how
I
does one
don't
someone like that? So you have to be strong. But please go ahead.
Yes, I don't want to tell them that I'm suffering from this kind of mental illness because I don't want them to also worry about me because we're now living a life without our parents. It's really hard. It's really
Yes, I
hard.
understand. Well,
Yes.
also, and putting my norm therapy hat on, when people are abused, like death to you is kind of like, in the way the doctors treated you is kind of an abuse. It's
Yes,
medical
yes.
abuse. We call it. We actually champion that at Arrow. And one of the
Mhm.
things is communication between doctor and patient, doctor and
Mhm.
family. Um,
Mhm.
Even the medical doctors who have become norm therapists in our organization echo the same thing, that we have a great way of having a good bedside manner, or a way to talk to patients, a way to talk to their family members than a traditional doctor would have that kind of ability. And one of the things I think that's abusive about that is it was a surprise to you that your parents were dying,
Yes, yes, yes. It's really a surprise for us.
and no one can say anything
We're
about it, or
it's like
no one
they're
can really
giving us a hope
yes, and no
that
one can articulate it until you
yes.
talk to a psychiatrist. You couldn't
Mhm.
articulate the problem. That's
Mhm.
what medical abuse, and sometimes political abuse, and sometimes other kinds of abuses that are rather subtle and passive, but they're just as
No.
true as somebody beating you in the face with their fist. They're just as,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I think you deserve, for all the time you've been at Norm Therapy. If you want to ever talk to me or any one of the Norm therapists, you let Kelly know and we'll arrange something. But I think you need to have a more closure on it. I'm not sure if you're a psychiatrist and you are where you are in that, but I think that there's some closure there, that the actual abuse of medical abuse is there. The way you were treated, even if it only occurred on what they call an acute basis, like over a month,
Mhm.
that's not
Mhm.
really chronic. If it had been years and years, then we'd say the chronic basis. But since it was an acute series of grievances you had with the hospital, I think it's something you need to really get out of your system. And I think through norm
Yes.
therapy, it could help you. And we'll
Yes, yes,
look
yes.
at it.
That
I'll
will definitely help a lot.
I'm going to move on because I don't want to run. We can talk about this one. It's just 17 minutes is gone. Just like that. Just like that.
Yes.
We only have an
Mhm.
hour, and I want to get to a few more questions for you.
Okay.
Uh, Tell me about your husband. How happy are
Um Actually, I can say that we're living in paid payday to payday basis.
you?
That's why
Okay.
we're just seeing each other around this time. It's
Mhm.
9 o'clock here in the Philippines, and he's just arrived from work. He will go out around 5 a.m.
Wow.
and I work from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m.
Wow.
Oh,
Didn't
even though it's
That's a
online.
lot of time away from your kids. How do you
Yes,
guys
yes,
manage?
yes.
How do you manage?
I I'm so glad I'm working online. I'm here at home.
Okay, great. That's wonderful.
Yes.
You're the virtual
The
assistant now. You moved out of the
yes, I'm a virtual that's the reason why I chose to become a virtual assistant.
What a sacrifice, but a very benevolent thing that you're doing for your family. I admire people who make sacrifices for their families. I think families are always number one.
Yes.
In everything we do in life, families will always be number one. But tell
Yes.
me
And
something.
I'm here in RF because of them too, because of my kids too.
Wow. Well, there you go. Well, I mean, a great mom to do great things.
Yes.
You know, tell me something. How
Mhm.
old are your children?
My I got only one son. He is the
Okay.
oldest, 15 years
Okay.
old. The next
That's
one
right.
is
You have a
13.
15-year-old son. Impossible.
Yes.
Keep going.
13, then the next one is I have three daughters,
Okay.
13, 8, and 7.
Oh, he's going to be protecting them the rest of his life. You know that, right?
Yes,
That's his
yes.
job. That is
And
his
now
job.
I'm thankful for having my son
Hmm.
because he almost do everything I said. Go errand, go to grocery stores if I need something to buy, do the laundry and
Hmm.
everything.
He's there.
But yes. He needs to know that. That's not only a girl thing, but that is knowing how to um live, do the
Absolutely.
chore. Yes.
My mother taught me the same thing. Oh, I had three
Yes.
brothers and two sisters.
Mm-hmm.
She used to say exactly this: never
Mm-hmm.
be with a woman because you have to be with her. Be with her because you want to be with her.
Yes.
Because most
Exactly.
men back then didn't know how to cook or sew or clean. Or
No.
I can do all of that. Every day, as none of that's a problem for me, or any of my siblings, for that matter,
Mm-hmm.
because we were taught the same way, and I like that you're
Yes. Yes.
because you're more full person when you can do things for yourself and you don't have to rely on
Yes.
people. You're much
Mm-hmm.
more full person. Um, one of the premises of norm therapy is those life lessons that you
Mm-hmm.
otherwise may have missed. So at
Yes.
Norm, we try to teach you those lessons in context, but also using tools that I've developed over the past 3 decades in order
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that you're having a productive time trying to get those lessons learned and a part of your countenance. And speaking of countenance, you're a virtual assistant for a spiritual advisor, you said?
Spiritual coach.
A spiritual coach. Now, what is a
Yes.
spiritual coach? Please explain that to me.
Um, Actually, there's a lot of things that more of she is teaching people how to connect with the spirituality, because we have a different beliefs. We have we call Allah, Buddha, Jesus Christ, and whatever.
Mhm.
He's she's teaching us that for us to be able to have a wealthy life, you need our physical selves to be connected with our spiritual selves.
Of course. And
Yes.
that transcendence, I practice theta and a few other
Mm-hmm.
things as well. I
Mm-hmm.
believe in Christ, but I also believe in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
I think about it. I think about religion and the different deities like this.
Mm-hmm.
If God, uh, a billion years ago,
Mm-hmm.
when he was hanging the stars and naming each star, he
Mm-hmm.
had me in mind today.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone who exists within the understanding of religion or spirituality or something bigger than themselves, whatever you call it, Buddha, Allah,
Yes.
Lord Krishna, Christ, whatever you
Yes.
call it, it doesn't matter. It's a
Mm-hmm.
higher purpose in universe. And when
That's
you can
exactly
connect
what
to it,
she's teaching.
I love
Yes.
this lady already. I love her
The
already.
There is a higher level in everybody else.
Plane of
Whether
existence.
you call it, yes, whether you call it Allah, Buddha, Jesus Christ, it's it all the same. That
You
higher,
You're right.
yes.
You listen,
Yeah.
I've studied just, no, I'm one of the few people who can say I actually did a lot of reading and studying in like the
Mm-hmm.
Bhagavad Gita. I read
Mm-hmm.
both the Old and New Testament of the Bible, the Torah,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
Quran. I've read just about every religious text on the planet at some point or some major
Mm-hmm.
religion. And what I found, believe it or not, is most of the arc of the stories of each of the books are exactly the same.
The same, yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Indian culture, you got Lord Krishna and Arjuna, which is
Mm-hmm.
God and Jesus Christ in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yes.
you got Muhammad and
Mohammed.
you
Yeah.
have
Allah.
Allah. It's
Yes.
a relationship.
The
Then you
Buddha.
have the
Yes,
Buddha.
the Buddha.
Exactly. So each
Mm-hmm.
one of the religions have the exact same story, and no one's paying attention to that. And then some are, but most are not. They're looking at their own segregated religion for their segregated understanding, their segregated use. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a lack of a spirituality, I think. I think when
Yes.
you're more open that other people are identifying with the same God, for instance, Muslims, Christians, and Jewish, all look at the same God, same one.
Yes. 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 Exactly.
Yet they're at war
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
constantly over the millennia about the same God and the teachings. So
Mm-hmm.
we have to start accepting the spirituality of a person, as you said, as well as
Yes.
their religion. And just, you don't have to
Yes.
like it. You don't have to like
Yeah.
it, but you got to respect that they have their religion, they have their
Right.
spirituality. We can all
Exact.
meet on the spiritual plane. because we're all
Mm-hmm.
seeking the same thing.
Yes, yes,
We
yes.
can all meet. So I love that you do. So you switched from McDonald's, 14 years at McDonald's. So you did
Yes.
everything in McDonald's while you were working on your degree in college. I'm thinking you, right?
No, actually, I finished my college degree. Then
In what?
I
What did you
worked at
finish in?
McDonald's, Bachelor of Science and Food Technology.
In food technology. That's an interesting degree.
Yes.
That's why I wanted to make you say it. So then you go to work
I
for
love
McDonald's.
food.
Well, there you go. Tell us about McDonald's food in the Philippines. Tell us about, and by the way,
Um,
you're in the Philippines right now, and it's
yes,
got it's what time is it there?
9:25 p.m.
Wow,
It's
it's
good
not
evening, Philippines.
well,
Good
right
morning, US.
there you go. Wow. Okay, so let's not keep you up too late tonight. But tell us about working at McDonald's for 14 years. So were you a manager or what did
I work as a department manager,
okay.
serving customer service department manager, serving customer. I'm the first one who will always uh frontliner, what you call that, for frontliner
Mhm.
in the restaurant. I always the one who will solve if there's a complaint, if there is inquiries in the customer service, in the customer
Mhm.
area. I make sure that all my
Quality
staff,
control. Quality control.
yes,
Wonderful.
giving the quality service that the McDonald's brand is known worldwide.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
McDonald's to some people, some places in the world is pretty good stuff.
Yes.
I've never really liked fast food, me personally. I've never liked any fast food, unless it was like real food. Like McDonald's, I don't know. In the United States, it isn't always real food. And I've read a lot of studies on it. But in other places in the world, because like the Philippines, places in Africa, places in Central South America and Europe, they demand higher quality standards on the meat products, on the
Mm-hmm.
vegetables that are used, and on the supply
Yes.
chain. They have much higher standards, so long as they're meeting McDonald's minimum requirement for providing the food care and food substances to people. That's the best way. And what I noticed, and I've lived out of country in the United States probably longer than I lived
Mm-hmm.
in the United States. But what I noticed is people have much higher quality of food standard in the world than the US. Even though we have great food there, we have some amazing food in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
but it's full of additives and preservatives and chemicals and dyes and a lot of things that other countries just don't use. And
Yes,
also,
because
go ahead,
like in
please.
the Philippines, yes, because here in the Philippines we use local products. We serve
Exactly.
fried chicken. At
Yeah.
McDonald's, we serve spaghetti. We
Mhm.
serve breakfast like longanisa. We call that longanisa, sausage, Philippine sausage.
Sausage, longaniza. I know it very well.
Yes.
That's Spanish. You know that, longaniza.
I
Yo,
Spanish. Yes.
Filipino, el español. Yo, I speak Spanish too. So
Wow.
I get that. But and I'm saying that because people go to the United States and they go longestino, even though McDonald has their version of sausage patty, but you guys are using locally produced and grown food
Yes.
indicative of the Philippine culture and
Mm-hmm.
to that
Yes.
standard. That's a whole
Mm-hmm.
kind of different McDonald's. You understand? United States
Mm-hmm.
isn't that way. As a matter of fact, in the US, so when you said McDonald's food, I went, food technician, food expert with McDonald's. It didn't make sense. But then I realized that
Yes.
you go to a chicken place in Turkey, let's say a fast food chicken place in Turkey or in
Mm-hmm.
Istanbul or in Manila or wherever you
Mm-hmm.
go, it's gonna be real chicken from the Philippines that's prepared by Filipinos in a style,
Yes.
culture indicative and healthiness indicative of the culture. That's
Yes.
the way it works all over the world, with the exception of the United States. Now, there are
Okay.
people who cook well and use great ingredients. I'd say the vast majority of the people in the United States do that, but that isn't
Mm-hmm.
always available to quite a few people, especially underserved people in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
As mostly McDonald's and those chicken places, they people of normal, underserved communities will frequent
Mm-hmm.
those places more often than everyone else. Although it's a
Mm-hmm.
good brand, McDonald's is an excellent brand. It's
Yeah.
just that it doesn't provide the quality of food in the United States that it should be. But everywhere else in the world, they get to set their own standards, and they're higher, much higher than McDonald's standards. And it's
Yes.
better food, and even oftentimes very good for you. So being this front person, being this understood leader in the marketplace in the Philippines, you being that person at the frontline person, I think you called it, quality control.
Mhm.
What were some of the most difficult things you had to do in your capacity during those days?
Um, for me,
Mhm,
when I during the time that I work as a McDonald's manager at McDonald's,
mhm.
the most difficult decision that I need to decide is whether I need to add additional stuff or not.
Okay.
Because here in the Philippines, we we are really into l- labor cost cutting.
Yes. Everywhere.
Uh
Everywhere.
but but here it's really difficult. The
Mhm.
job of a manager is also, it's like you're the manager but you're also the crew.
But you have to make some difficult decisions often.
Yes, it's like it's that's a difficult decision because we know as a manager at the back of my mind I need to hit a certain percentage of my labor report. But because fast food is really popular here, if you want to have a quality service, you need enough staff to fill your shift, to fill
Yeah,
your restaurant, to be
yes,
able to give quality service on your customer.
of
But
course.
because yes, but because it's really like hard ironic that I'm the manager, I'm the customer service manager. I know I need to give a quality service, but in the back of my mind, oh my God, I need to add my labor's really getting higher. My
Your
labor
budget.
cost. I need this. Yes, I need to cut the hours of this certain staff so that I can, I can reach a certain target.
Accommodate
And
the rest
then,
of the job.
yes, and that's why being it will be double role for me. I'm the manager at the same time. I act as a crew of the
Yeah.
restaurant
Wow.
just to just to compensate the if I decide to let the crew um punch out of the day or take the rest like that.
You can cut their hours or add hours
Yes.
will based on the volume of traffic as well as the
Mm-hmm.
driving in. That's business.
Mm-hmm.
That happens all over the world. And for you to even articulate that for people, most people don't understand when they're laid off or when they're fired or when their hours are cut. They don't look at the big picture of
Mm-hmm.
why. And you just kind of, in a nutshell, explain for the audience and the future viewers of this podcast what it is about you that you're doing to make sure that you keep a balanced environment in the workplace. I think that's very powerful. So now you 14 years at McDonald's, and
Mm-hmm.
the pandemic hit. You leave McDonald's.
Yes.
Then your parents, they die. I'm so sorry again to hear that and to know that. And I do give you my heartfelt condolences,
Thank
you
you.
and your
Thank you.
family. Uh,
Thank you.
and and now you've been with Arrow Abuse Refuge Org, which
Mm-hmm.
Kelly is an excellent global executive director. She created an environment over there, and no,
Mm-hmm.
I mean at Arrow, where people actually get along. As a matter of fact, most people who are with Arrow as a volunteer say it's the best place they've ever worked in their lives,
Yes.
and they've been in
Yes.
business for 30 years. They say it's the best place. People are treated well. People are
Yes.
listened to. Your opinion matters, and everyone's courteous. And it's not fake. There's nothing fake about it. I'm the CEO of the organization, but I never really even talk about it because Kelly, that's her thing. The whole nonprofit, its environment, the way people are operating, the great work that they do is Kelly. It truly
Mm-hmm.
is. I'm the back office guy, so to speak.
I
over
agree
the
with you that with that.
yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
I
she
agree with
really
you.
sets the tone. She really, I know, and I know you love her to death, and she loves you to death too. She's actually in the back office here with us, and she's been sending me notes about you and great stuff that you do. So, what do you like? What do you like most? And I need to tell you this also, so you'll know.
Yes.
Most of the people, and we've had thousands of people come through Arrow since our inception. Since the
Yes.
beginning, we've had
Yes.
so many volunteers because in the volunteer community, there's a high turnover rate. There just is. Right? And so
Mhm.
we get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people come in all the time. And then, a few hundred leave
Come and
and a
go.
few hundred
Yes.
go. It's a lot of turnover. It's
Mhm.
volunteer. So, what are we going to do?
Yes.
But um, most of the people, believe it or not, when they leave Arrow and they go somewhere else, the skills they acquire at Arrow, because we believe in cross training. I'm an old special forces guy. So we
Mhm.
added in cross training to our menu of delights for the organization, so to speak. And it
Yes.
it has been a wonderful burden to have to make sure that other people learn something about something else while they're at Arrow or learn something new when they come in. You didn't expect to do social media, and then all of a sudden you were called on and you were put on a team of people who taught you the way. How did that
Yeah.
work for you?
And I didn't expect that I will also lead the social media department that time when
I
Kat
know.
left Arrow.
That's right.
And
You
I
did
was
take that
like,
place when Cat left. You sure did.
yes, yes. And um I don't know. I was really at first it was overwhelming, but because Kelly believes in me, it's really something that I can hold on that, you know, Kelly
Yes.
believes that I can do this. I will do my best to do this.
Look at the quality of
Um
stuff we have in our social media. I
yes.
think we have the one of the best social media departments in the entire world. I really do. The
Yes.
stuff we do is so quality. Now all we need to do is hit these algorithms, which we're working on that too. And I
Mhm.
think we will be one of the most viral organizations. A lot of people don't know that I'm out in the world right now raising money for my own company, which is called Norm Therapy Inc., raising money
Mhm.
to build norm therapists around the world and then provide to Arrow. And I need to let everybody know for the past 6 years, all of our services through the nonprofit have been free of charge to everyone. And then
Yes.
only on our for-profit side, which is of course Norm Therapy, have we charged anyone anything. And
Mhm.
so what we've made a pledge to Arrow, Norm Therapy Inc. made a pledge. I'm the CEO of Norm Therapy as well, but Norm Therapy Inc. made a pledge to Arrow that we will provide free services to Arrow all the time. But it is based on 10% of our actual volume. So if anyone needs any help out there, those 10% free seats until we become a huge organization are very scarce. So be very careful getting in line for that and really let us know what's
That's
going on.
awesome. Yes.
But
It's
yeah, we
awesome.
because if you're not giving something away, then why should you be receiving it? I mean, why should I
Yes.
receive benefit if I can't give something away? I think it makes no sense. And Kelly and I are in perfect harmony and agreement with that. I think it's very important that we provide services to people who can't afford it. I mean,
Mhm.
you know,
Yes.
our,
Yes.
our, our
Yes.
our counseling services cost money at the Norm Therapy site. You can go on the site and look at all the pricing, which is lower than any kind of counseling on the planet. But um, there are people who just can't afford it who are in terrible circumstances, and
Yes.
we help them.
And doing that, yeah,
Yeah,
it will really help them.
and I like that you get that. And
Awesome.
as a social media person, you're always writing about that. You're always designing social media posts about stuff that we do and how we
Mhm.
do it and why we do it. And I have to commend you. And most people who work with Arrow, I can say this for a fact. Kelly spends a lot of her time doing job recommendations. They'll say, "Hey, I need a job recommendation." And just about everyone that's ever gotten a job recommendation from us go off to get a much better job in the area that we trained them in and got them proficient in. So we are a hub for experiential knowledge that we provide people opportunity to gain. And you're a
Yes.
product of that. You're a very smart lady. You're
I
very cute,
am.
got a
I
lot of experience.
am the
You
living
killed
proof
it.
of that, Michael.
Yes, you are absolutely. We're so proud of you. I can't stop talking about you. We are so proud of you and the work that you do
I
at our
am. Yes,
and
it's
to
a
be
long journey, but I traveled far.
I know, but you're all
Already traveled
across the
far.
world. You're on the other side
Yes.
of the world doing it well. We had a
Yes.
we had a policy in the beginning, and you need to know this, that because of our time differences, and Kelly and I are on the phone with people 24 hours, 7 days a week, because we have norm therapists and volunteers on every continent, with the exception of Antarctica. That's the on that cold place. We have norm therapists, we have volunteers everywhere. So we were always on the phone and in conferences at all manner of hours. So we said, oh my God, we can't put anybody else through what we're going through. So no managers can be outside of the United States because we just too much time difference. And then you came along. And then Maru, also the head of our graphic design, took the position
Yes.
of Eden. And we went, wait a minute, hold on a second. And plus Eden was overseas too. We said we have to
Yes,
break.
Eden. Eden also.
That's right. And so
Yeah.
everybody was killing themselves, doing a great job. And you guys started to take on the hours and the responsibility like Kelly and I. And we were so proud of all of you. We thought we would be abusing you by having you
No,
take out, but you guys just knocked it out of the
it's
ball.
my pleasure to work with Arrow, Michael.
Hmm.
Really my
And
pleasure.
again, for all,
I always tell Kelly about that.
well, you know,
As long as I can do something for Arrow, I won't leave Arrow.
oh, you're so sweet. Thank you for that vote of confidence. I like that.
Yes, because it came a time that I have full-time job, I have three part-times, and I talked to Kelly that I really can do more, I really can handle the social media anymore. Then I said if you can just transfer me to something that I love doing, that's the graphic design.
Mm.
eh, Graphic designs really help my mental health.
I love Maru though. Don't you love
Yes.
Maru over there? Is she amazing?
Um, yeah, I'm doing the infographics now for HR. And I'm
That's
also
you.
doing uh honorable mention
That
infographics
was
too.
my brainchild. Honorable mentions was my
Yes, the
brainchild.
honorable mention, the infographics for birthdays and anniversary.
All of that is you.
That's the one. Yes.
Oh, we don't
Yeah.
get to work together much because I'm always doing other stuff in the organization, but
Yeah.
I'm glad to know that you.
And
Everybody, go ahead.
the infographics for Coffee with Michael and Kelly.
Yeah.
I Yes.
Okay, now you got my heart. You got my heart now because I'm always proud of what you guys are doing over there, and it's you. I'm glad to see that. Um, I've come up with so many other things that I
I
want to.
And one thing, Michael, I don't know if Kelly already told you about this.
What's that?
I'm the first person who created the Arrow Star Award certificate because
That's right.
before
I remember that.
before we only do the infographics. Then I told Kelly that maybe we could give a certificate kind of thing for the Arrow Star.
Yes,
And yes,
I
she
always
loves
wondered
it.
where that came from.
Yes.
I always
And
wondered where
from
that.
there, yes, the transformation, and now it's really
Well, it's a
great.
staple. It's a staple and a signature reward to people when they do a great job. You set a real
Yes.
high standard. It's a beautiful certificate too. And then we have Arrow 2-star awards. We have all kinds of different
Yes.
awards
Yes.
based on your input. So yay! Thank you for being the first and definitely to help us craft that. I think people. I believe when we get into a for pay mode, and and I know a lot of people don't do Arrow for the money because we don't pay any money.
No.
But on the for-profit side, I will be hiring people from Arrow, first having them completely resign from Arrow, and then come over to the for-profit side, and then rejoin Arrow from the for-profit side to keep that legality there because we want people to volunteer 10% of the time as employees to Abuse Refuge Org and other foundations and nonprofits that we represent around the world. We want people to volunteer 10% of their time, and we pay them for that 10% of their time to volunteer at the organization from the for-profit side and or the Norm Therapy Inc. side, and continue to have that legacy forward to help people who are in need. There are a lot of people out there who need our support, who can't afford it anywhere. And we've given away
Yes.
tons of free service. I mean,
Yes.
I remember there were times where I've had 10 clients that I'm, along with the work I'm doing around the world, plus building Arrow, plus building norm therapy. And I was dealing with 10 different patients, and so was most of our other norm therapists. We were just busy with so many people. And we just got to the point where we were almost burned out. It was so much work, but it was a labor of love, helping people. And we have some real tragic stories that people come to us with. And we have to help them discern those stories. We have to help them find their truth and then echo that truth throughout the remainder of their lives. So we'll talk more about that on another podcast. I just want to go back to you now. Sorry,
Yeah.
because I can get long-winded. I love to talk. But for a person who told me you had a little nerves about coming on, you are the most natural person ever. Good Lord. I mean, you are amazing on this podcast. So
Thank
tell,
you.
tell me something. When you decided that post Arrow, I mean post COVID, and then during Arrow, you decided to become a member. What was the reason, other than abuse? What was the reason you decided that we would be the nonprofit that you worked with and volunteered for over all the others? What made that decision for you?
When I talked to Kelly, during the it's like a welcome meeting, and she told me about what Arrow is goal globally,
Mhm.
helping people about the abuse. You know, there are people that doesn't know that they're already abused. They didn't I don't know if they're in a sort of denial, or they just didn't know that they're already suffering from abuse.
Mhm.
um I believe that if Arrow will become globally known, it will help many people. And as
I
a
think so.
mom, yes, and as a mom, I have 4 kids. This time really is really hard to raise 4 kids. The social media, this generation, I think kids nowadays is really soft, not like during
We agree.
our era.
Exactly.
During the 80s, or those people who are raised during the 80s, the 70s, or the 90s. This generation is what I call a very soft person, or I don't want to call them weak, but
They're more
this
into me than anything else. I'm a
yes,
me generation.
yes, and this is the generation that will need Arrow the most, and
I
that
think
includes my children. I
because
want them, when the time comes, I don't want them to be weak. I want them to know that if they're going to this certain kind of situation, they have Arrow to help them. They
well, we
can,
are about that.
yes,
We
they
are.
can go to this particular organization that will welcome them, that will accept them. Acceptance sometimes is really, for the person, it's really hard,
It
you
is.
know. Yes.
It is.
And sharing what you are really feel, it's also hard for those people who are experiencing abuse. That's why they didn't most of the time, they are not healed. They didn't find peace with themselves, because they can accept it. They can have an outlet to express their feelings. And
We call it a brave space. Uh,
yes,
brave
and
space
I
where they,
believe that Arrow will help all those people that will be in need in the future.
listen, I'm glad you mentioned that because I want to share that before I go into our questions that our
Mm-hmm.
audience will be asking you. But um, one of the things about what we do is we're preparing people for those life lessons that they otherwise miss. When the daughter sits on her dad's knee and says, Daddy, what kind of man am I going to marry? Dad would say, Sweetheart, if any man ever treats you any less than I treat you, then you need to run. She never heard that. Most people cannot articulate abuse. You see it, you know it's bad, but it's happening to someone else. So you ignore it. Plus, the people around you, you have such familiarity and you're so close to them that you overlook their discrepancies, you overlook their shortcomings, you overlook
Yes.
their narcissism, you overlook their abuse because they're
Mhm.
so close to you in that proximity. And we have things that I've coined these phrases, for instance, one of the things that you're going to read my paper, I'm hoping in the future, on proximity predators. You have people around you who are predatory to you. They're your proximity predators, the people who you can't get rid of your mom, you can't get rid of your husband, you can't get rid of your best friend you've had your whole life, whose proximity to you, they may be predatory and they don't even know they're abusing you. In the curriculums around the world, when people like you had to do at McDonald's cut the budget, when they cut
Yes.
school and education budgets, the first thing they cut around the world are humanities. They cut home economics. They cut civics, how government works. They cut all of these music, all of these refinement curriculums that refine human beings and human nature and allow us to communicate in other ways. And they even cut out languages in schools when they're trying
Yes.
to cut the budget. So it prevents people from communicating outside of themselves, but also outside of their communities. And then you wonder why
Yes.
some people, believe in certain kinds of cults or religions or political views, and they're doctors and lawyers and they're engineers and they're scientists, and they believe, and they're very smart people, but they believe in nonsense because how can they know something about how government works if it's been taken out of the curriculum 2 decades ago?
Mhm.
How can they know something about how to treat one another if there was never any formal or consistent education where people can learn to appreciate those things? So that sets up the environment for abuse. Because
Mhm.
when you take out of society those norms and traditions and customs and mores, you take those out of life, everyday learning cycle, people are going to hurt each other and not even know why. They won't be able to articulate the abuses. They won't
Yes.
be able to understand. We hear it all the time at Arrow and Norm Therapy. People say things like, I didn't even know financial abuse was a thing.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't even know that my husband was a narcissist. I didn't know
Yes.
that I was being lied to by my
I
kids.
agree. Yeah.
So I'm gonna go into your question, but I want to plug that in Norm Therapy because I want people to know that we're not about giving you Michael Gibson's norm or your norm or Kelly's norm. We're not about that. We're about helping you sift through your own lives that you keep telling yourself. The
Mhm.
girl who walks down the street, she has a black eye, a bloodied nose, and a chipped tooth, and maybe she's holding one of her broken ribs, and she looks you right in the face and she says, He loves me. That's why he beats me. She's lying to
So sad.
herself. She's lying to you, and she doesn't even know it. That's what we're there for. And we'll talk more about that too in our upcoming segments. But I'm going to teach you some questions for you. Having
Okay.
lived both in the United States and the Philippines, what have you found to be the biggest difference between the two countries and their cultures?
Um, I think there's a lot of difference. Um, the American culture and the Filipino culture. Filipinos are known for resilience and um
Resilience, you said? Resilience?
yes, and friendly, and I don't know, I think because we in any situation we will find hope and we will find goodness even though it's really hard. We still find in ourselves, in our soul, the goodness in everything. That's what Catriona
As a culture.
said.
Well, the United States,
Yes.
believe it or not, I'd say the vast majority of people in the United States are that way as well. I do. But there are the loudest people in the world who are not that way, who are in the US as well, that they overshadow the many good people who
Mm-hmm.
care and are connected to others and want to see everyone do well and wishing you well also. But then there are the agitators, people who you just can never please. The United States have a whole lot of them, and that is true. But I'd say the vast majority of Americans are good people, and they want to be good to others, and they are good to others, and they're good to themselves and their families. But
Yes. Yeah.
it's the few loud ones that make a lot of rhetorical noise, I call it.
Mm-hmm.
But I like that you mentioned that, and that's a very good thing. So let me ask you another question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most important lesson you've learned since you've been with Arrow? From Arrow.
The actually when I about abuse, there are many kind of abuse that I don't know exist. Um before Arrow, I don't know about the narcissist, the pathological liar, the financial abuse. There are a lot of kinds of abuse that I really didn't know. What abuse that I only know as the physical abuse, emotional abuse. It's only that.
Well,
Then when
I'm glad.
yes, I learn a lot. I really learn a lot.
Well, this
And one thing is because of Arrow, I was it's like eye opener to me that it's not because you're um being silent of what you're feeling doesn't mean that that you're not uh experiencing abuse.
and there's someone's always at Arrow who has a different eye on abuse, so we can detect that as well,
Mm-hmm.
people. So you made a good point. Listen, I could talk to you all day. And I may have to have you back on a panel in the future, so be ready for it. You'll be asked to come on a panel so we can
No
share.
worries.
But I
I
need to
love
read
talking to you.
a
I
couple
love
things.
this.
Well, I'm
I
glad.
already
Thank you,
love this
Christine.
thing.
Thank you. I listen, I'm just in a hurry so we don't run out of time. And I
It's okay.
apologize.
I know.
Okay, but I enjoyed our entire conversation.
I
I
enjoy it
want to
too.
quickly say if you go to goarrow.org, it will resolve into abuserefuge.org
Yes,
website.
it will.
And you'll see there, if you go
You
into the
will.
area in the menu called abuses, you have to sign up to the website and become a member. It doesn't cost you anything. Become a
Mhm.
member. And once you sign up, you'll get, when you log into the abuse refuge site, you'll get access to every definition of abuse that we have. And it'll explain it in context for you, each abuse. And we have we've invented something called the identifiable victim markers, which we're creating a whole kind of Bible, if you forgive me for saying, around abuse, that these identifiable victim markers. For instance, a child who's experiencing child abuse has a different kind of anxiety than a wife who's being beaten and battered by her husband. Her anxiety is different than a child's anxiety. So everything we do
Yeah.
and everything we discuss is in context, not just content, but the contextualization of everything we do. And so lastly, I got to read this as well. I wanted to share that with you. So join at abuserefuge.org and you get access to those definitions. And we have some videos and other explanations. Go through the site. You'll learn a lot about abuse. If you've enjoyed
Yes.
and got something out of today's live podcast, share this live session with a friend who could benefit from this message, please, or a family member. Please go to goarrow.org and to normtherapy.com. That's goarrow, GOARO.org. And of course, normtherapy.com. And explore our opportunities and seek help for yourself or someone needing our services. And if you're interested in applying to participate in our live sessions as a guest, victim, or survivor, email us at contact@normtherapy.com. That's contact@normtherapy.com. And someone will get back with you. If you need to buy sessions, go to the Norm Therapy website or to the Arrow website and click on purchase sessions, and we'll get a Norm Therapist there for you to help you along your way. Thank you for joining us, and we can't wait to see you again this coming Tuesday, June 18th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's U.S. East Coast, where I'll be interviewing Stephanie Bertrand. I really like Stephanie a lot. She's an amazing lady. She's a training and development coordinator at Abuse Refuge Org. And as a friendly reminder, we will not be having a live session this coming Sunday, June 16th, due to Father's Day in the United States. We take that off. Please enjoy your time with your family and your loved ones during that time. And Christine Sabinorio, that was a long-winded closing, but I wanted to say
Yes.
thank you for showing up today. You were a
Thank
delight,
you, Michael. I
very
enjoyed
informative.
the session.
And if there's
Yes.
anything you want to close us out with, I give the floor to you.
Um, you know, they say smile is contagious, but I want it to be kindness is contagious. Let's share kindness to everyone. Like
That is
even
beautiful.
though it's really hard to be kind, but we should choose to be kind anytime, every time.
Absolutely. I think your heart should always exude you. Your heart
Yes.
should arrive. You know, I always tell people quickly, and I know we run out of time, but I always tell people that the heart is much more intelligent than the mind will ever be, because the
Yes.
heart can feel on the person's countenance. When you first lay eye on them, you can say, I like this person, I don't like this person, I'm weary of this person, or I'm open to this person. Your heart tells you that, even before your mind even discern it. Now, what you should do is most people miss the step is they don't take it from their heart and then pause and think about it and then execute that relationship or friendship. But I think the heart is very important. I think it's much smarter than the brain will ever be. And I
Yeah.
think that we should believe in our hearts, but also use our brains to
Yes.
discern what our hearts are telling us. I
Yes.
agree
Yes.
with you.
Exactly.
Listen, Christine, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to having you on some of our future panels. And now,
Sure.
when Kelly call and you say be on this panel, say, "Yay, I'll come." Please do that. I look forward to
Yes.
talking to
Sure.
you soon. And
Yes.
God bless you and your family. And I'm again, I do send my condolences about your parents. I really do.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Okay. Thank you. Everyone, thank you for joining us today. I look forward to having you on our next episode. Okay, we're off the live stream. Thank you,
Thank
Christine.
you.
I enjoyed
Thank
you,
you.
and I
Yes.
look forward
I
to talk with
enjoyed it.
you